Today, we are talking about self-doubt. Yeah. Where it comes from, what the benefits are. Yeah, I know there are benefits of self-doubt, trust me. Um, but yes, so I've got questions open over there. But of course, this live recording will go straight into the Facebook group. If you are watching this anywhere other than in the Facebook group, you need to comment below or message me direct with your questions. So let's get started. The roots of self-doubt. Yeah. This is kind of where they come from. That's what I mean by this. Yeah. The societal pressures, the expectations that are set by society. And, a few weeks ago now, I talked about the unreasonable expectations that are often put on us by society and by ourselves to live up to. Yeah. And these things are challenging to live up to. Just got somebody joining. To make sure that I am pinned. Just a second. Right, just so that you know, Claire, I am recording this. If you don't want to be recorded, please turn your camera off, just to be on the safe side, because I'm never quite sure what it's going to record. Today, we are talking about self-doubt. And we're going to start with where it comes from. Yeah. Because if we can understand where things come from and what we are aware of, then we can do something about them. If you don't know there's a problem, how are you going to know to fix it? Yeah. Most self-doubt, in my experience of coaching for many years now, is that self-doubt comes from societal pressures and pressures that we create for ourselves. And just recently, I did a chat. Oh, when was it? It was quite a while ago now, about unreasonable expectations. And these unreasonable expectations that we put on ourselves and that we put on each other will all add up to these expectations and these standards that we hold ourselves to. There's also all of the portrayals of women in particular, though you know what it's like, on any kind of media, whether that's TV, cinema, newspapers. Also, there are a lot of gender biases that contribute to self-doubt in women and in men too. So, just want to open something up. Yeah, there we are. The thing with these expectations is that the ones that we place on ourselves are usually the ones that we hold ourselves up to most strongly. And these can often come in the form of internalized messages. Yeah, the voice in our head, the inner critic, these childhood experiences and family dynamics, past failures. Yeah, they can all add up and give your inner critic more and more strength. This then becomes perfectionism, imposter syndrome. Yeah. Now, if you're the sort of person who sets themselves very high standards, yeah, then you're going to let yourself down and create self-doubt within yourself simply by being human. Yeah? This being human with all of our faults and fables can literally fuel your own self-doubt. So I'm going to come up with some ideas a little bit later on, what we can do about that. But the last thing that I'm going to pull out, yeah, as a cause of self-doubt is comparison, comparing yourself with others. Social media has contributed to this tremendously. Yeah. Now, social media has only really been around in its current form for, less than 20 years, I suppose. And yet it has torn apart so many individuals. And this happens because we want to present ourselves in the best possible light. So, with everybody presenting their best possible life, those who have a less than perfect life, which are all of us, by the way, are then constantly comparing ourselves to others on social media. But this also happens when we just, all you've got to do is watch the news, yeah, and see a visually attractive man or woman anchor reading the news. TV, cinema, even advertisements, yeah, can all erode our self-esteem. Feeling this pressure, yeah, and hearing our own inner critic gabbling on, yeah, will they kind of it becomes a loop, yeah. We feel pressure. We listen to our inner critic. We then have periods of perfectionism, imposter syndrome, and comparison, which then cause ourselves to put ourselves under even more pressure, which makes our inner critic even louder. Yeah. And all of this stuff is not your fault. None of it is your fault. Yeah. There's two ways of looking at this, right? And I agree with both of them. Yeah. So I'm not an either or, I'm a both in this case. Many people will tell you that this has been done to us by modern life. And I agree with that to a great extent. But these functions, the inner critic, the perfectionism, the wanting to do better, are also rooted in mechanisms in our brains, yeah, that are designed to keep us safe, encourage us to do better, in order to be accepted and connected to the tribe. So, how can we shift the narrative? Yeah, corny way of saying it, but how can we change the story? How can we empower ourselves and each other? Yeah, 4 tips here. First one is to challenge your own negative thoughts. Yeah. I talk often about how we owe it to ourselves to challenge our own limiting beliefs, mainly because these limiting beliefs are what gets in the way of us being confident people, yeah, women. Most of you in my Facebook group are women. There are a few special men amongst you, yeah, but most of you are women. And the pre-programmed inner critic that comes with women, yeah, literally boils all the way back down to genetics. We are pre-programmed in our genes to do better, to put ourselves forward in a favorable light so that we are accepted and connected to that tribe, so that we will have the opportunity to pass on our genes by having children. Yeah. When we are pregnant, we cannot go out and, fight for meat. We can obviously collect berries and harvest vegetables and this kind of stuff. But, when we're heavily pregnant, we need the protection of that tribe around us. That's just reminded me of something else that I wanted to talk about, but probably not today. Quickly write it down. Now, I believe that the most important thing to realize about the inner critic in particular, yeah, is that it is pre-programmed to help us. And if you imagine, I'm sure it's happened to you, it's happened to me so many times I don't even want to count it. When someone wants to give you help, but you don't want it, yeah, you learn to thank that source of wisdom and say, thank you very much for your advice. I will take it under advisement. Do whatever it is you need to do to have that inner critic be heard and ignored. It is your right and within your power to do so. Another thing that I find really helpful, really, really helpful when it comes to changing the way that we talk to ourselves or that we judge ourselves is in the celebration of wins. Again, many of you will know by now, I plan once a week. Yeah. The most important thing about my plan is I put effort and concentration into it so that I only have to plan once. And then all I have to do for the rest of the week is follow the plan and keep a note of things that I have not planned for so that I pick them up the following week. But anyway, I encourage you to plan once a week. And as part of that plan, look back at last week and think to yourself, okay, what worked? What did I achieve last week? Because in recognition of your wins and your accomplishments, yeah, this will allow you to have less self-doubt because you are focusing on what you achieved and what you did. The next thing, point number 3, is to embrace your imperfection. I mentioned earlier about just the simple act of being a human, yeah, means that we're not going to be perfect. Do you get me? Yeah. Oh, Buddy just barked in the kitchen, made me jump. Buddy, love, come here. Silly boy. So within this imperfection that we all have, because there is no such thing as perfection, there are lessons to be learned. So when something goes wrong, don't knock yourself for it, because it is your own self giving yourself an opportunity to learn, an opportunity to grow. And if you can teach yourself that mistakes are just opportunities to learn and grow, then a mistake will not be something that you will start to pull yourself apart for. Yeah. And number 4, this is the easiest one to explain, but it's also the biggest thing, and it's also the most difficult thing for just about everybody who comes to me for coaching. And this is practice self-compassion. Self-compassion is the natural opposite of self-doubt. Yeah? If you treat yourself with kindness and understanding and compassion, if you recognize those opportunities that you're given, then that inner critic will get quieter and quieter and quieter. And then when it does show up, you can recognize it as a lesson. Okay, why am I criticizing myself? Is this something that I can do better? Is this something that I even want to bother to try to do better? Just upped again. It's making me jump so much today. And we've just come back from a walk, so he should be asleep on the sofa by now. Anyway, let's look at some practical strategies, yeah? Action steps that you can either chuck out the door or experiment with, yeah? Treat me just like you treat your own inner critic. If I suggest something to you that is never going to work for you, right, you've got a choice. You can either try it and prove that it's wrong, or you can try it and find that it doesn't. But I do urge you to try these things. Again, 4 of them. You ready? Realistic goals. A lot of women who come to me feeling burnt out and overwhelmed and just struggling with life, the universe, and everything, they come to me with 2 things, right? Firstly, they can't really pin down what it is that's causing them to feel this way. And secondly, they can't explain their goals to me. And this often happens because these goals are just too big. Yeah. Things like, I just want to be happy. I just want to be able to pay my bills without worrying. Yeah. These goals are too big. And the problem with goals that are too big is that you never get there. And because you never get there, you're constantly knocking yourself for not getting there. So by all means, have large goals and large dreams, but break them down, chop them up, and then chop up all of those parts into small, manageable steps. Yeah. I would love, in terms of a big goal, right? A realistic, but a big goal. I would love to have thousands and thousands of followers on my social media. right? I'd love to, because that means my message gets further. It also means that the more followers I have, the more the algorithm puts me in front of new people, which can become followers and such. But I don't measure my self-worth by the number of followers I have. I measure my self-worth by the number of times I post. And every time I post, I celebrate posting, because I create a social media post. I put it on Facebook, I put it on Instagram, I put it, if it's relevant, in this Facebook group. Where else is it? There's 4 places I post. Oh yes, my Facebook page. And each time I post, I have a box on my weekly plan which I tick. That's an achievement. And I know that the only way to get more followers is to post consistently. So, in order to get more followers, which is the big dream, yeah, or the big goal, what I do is the same thing consistently, the thing that I can do. I cannot close my eyes and open them again and have 50,000 followers. Yeah, doesn't work like that. In order to beat the algorithm, you have to work with it. So when it comes to setting your goals, make sure they're realistic and break them down as much as you possibly can. Yeah, make them manageable. Create a tick list, even if it's the same tick list that you use every day. Yeah, especially if you're running a business, it may be that you have a task that you need to do every day. Write it on a list, make a tick, do a tick, celebrate it. I know it's going to sound silly to start with, yeah, but you will get the hang of feeling better about doing what you can do towards your goals. Before I move on to the next one, I just want to say something else about tasks. When you break these goals, these bigger goals, down into manageable steps, yeah, look at grouping similar tasks together. Yeah, it's the same as, when I leave the house, I very rarely leave the house just to go to the post office and back. Yeah, usually I leave the house to go to the post office, walk the dog somewhere different on the way back, pick up a fresh loaf of bread, and maybe even drop in and see my mum. Yeah, that's what leaving the house means to me, because I group things together that, in that example, they're all tasks that I need to do out the house. So let's group them all together and do them all at once. So that's another little tip there when it comes to manageable steps. Okay, number 2, support networks. Your support network can be as big or as small as you need it to be. Yeah? This can be a group of supportive friends. It can be a group of people who you look up to, who are giving you advice. Yeah. Or it can be a community. Yeah. Like this Facebook group is a community. It's a group of supportive people who have all, on one level or another, dealt with very similar things, had similar things to overcome. And the only way that you get support in this group is by asking for it. It takes you to step out of that feeling of quiet, just watching everybody else, and say, this has just happened. What do you suggest? Because in the same way as that inner critic voice will come back at you, yeah, the voices that are supportive can drown out that inner critic. If you get advice and ideas from people who genuinely care about you, the voices who don't care about you will get quieter. Yeah? So, in addition to this Facebook group, I also have a community that is specifically for busy business and career women. Yeah. These women are struggling with, similar things: overwhelm, burnout, finding that they can balance work and family, but it's at the expense of themselves. or they can balance family and self, and then work starts to suffer. Yeah. I help them balance all three like a three-legged stool. Yeah. What have we got next? Oh, yes, positive affirmations. Now, practice positive affirmations with caution, people, please, with caution. I will always recommend that you use your own and that you base them on your own true values. And I have on my list of workshop ideas or little chat ideas like this a session just on creating positive affirmations for yourself. So keep an eye out for that in the future. One of my jobs for myself in the coming weeks is to build a plan so that you know more in advance what's coming on a particular Thursday session so that you can attend live and get your questions answered live. Also, that you can keep an eye out for the recording if this time of day is not good for you. So, positive affirmations. Make sure they are true to you, based on your values. Yeah, that's the important thing. The next one is visualizations. Now, the amazing thing about the human brain, yeah, is that a visualization is just as real to your brain as actually experiencing it live, as it were. Yeah. Visualization techniques can help you build confidence and overcome fear. Yeah. Example. If you've got a really stressful thing coming up, yeah, like a presentation at work or a dinner with family, yeah, relax, close your eyes, and visualize it going well. As I said, your brain doesn't know the difference between a visualization or the real thing. But if you show your brain the visualization, sorry, if you show your brain the presentation going well or the family dinner going well and everybody laughing at your jokes and all that kind of stuff, yeah, then your brain will set out to seek more and more proof of things going well. The more things show up that way, the more your brain will believe them, and so on. So that's the first step is the step you take for yourself in consciously and deliberately visualizing something going well. Yeah. Alongside that is that feel the fear and do it anyway phrase. Yeah. I tend to explain that as take action despite the fear. Yeah? If you allow the fear to stop you from doing something, you will never do it. Yeah? Have a look actually on my profile. I think it was yesterday. Was it yesterday? Yeah. Anyway, have a look on my Facebook profile. There's a little video post there about how I've flipping decided I have had enough of people calling it the comfort zone. Yeah. So when you want to leave your comfort zone, yeah, and take a risk. Actually, I've got one of those charts. Hang on, where is it? I only had it the other day. Yeah, here it is. Here it is. This is what they will call the comfort zone. This is fear. And what you want is on the other side of it. Yeah. Learning, growth. These things are on the other side of fear. So that theory of feel the fear and do it anyway gets you out of your comfort zone and expands your comfort zone, right? I prefer not to talk about it like that because the nature of the comfort zone is that it's a safe place and it's not. Anyway, look at my other posts about it. We'll come back to that. We'll definitely come back to that. But anyway, the thing is with taking risks, yeah, and doing things despite the fear, taking action despite the fear, is that calculated risks can be huge fun. Huge fun, right? Put it this way, find someone who has done bungee jumping. Yeah. Ask them how scared they were the first time they did it and watch the smile spread across their face. The thing is that there is always, the first time you go horseback riding, yeah, the first time you ride a bike, the first time you travel abroad, all of those things are a little bit scary, a little bit exciting the first time. But these calculated risks, doing things despite the fear, are fun, often fun. And the last thing I'm going to suggest, in terms of, actual action plan steps, please excuse my nose, is mindfulness. Mindfulness and grounding exercises help you stay present, which avoid you doing that past future thing. Yeah. That worrying over the past when the past is something that you cannot change, worrying over the future being something you can't control. Yeah? You can plan for, but nothing in the future is completely within your control. So mindfulness and grounding is what keeps you fully in the present. Now, this moment. In a lot of my meditations, if you ever listen to my guided visual meditations, you will find me saying phrases like, in this moment, in this body, there is only safety. That encourages you while you're listening to them to be present, to leave the past in the past, to leave the future in the future, and just be present in the moment. I think I will actually. Have I got time? Yes, I've got time. I want to talk a little bit about the importance of self-care when it comes to avoiding self-doubt and controlling self-doubt. The thing with self-care is it means so much to different people, right? I'm not talking about bubble baths or sitting halfway up a mountain in lotus position. Yeah, not talking about that. I'm talking about simple physical and emotional well-being. Yeah. Care about and respect yourself enough to get decent sleep, to put decent food in your body, to move your body, to take mental rest. Yeah? Not just physical rest, but mental rest as well. If you're interested in, I think I made it into a fact sheet. If I haven't, I should have done. I've got a list of different ways of identifying different sorts of tiredness and what sort of rest you need to combat those different sorts of tiredness. Yeah. But essentially, we're looking at sleep, nutrition, movement, mental rest, stress control. Yeah. Stress is a good thing. Stress keeps you safe. If you never responded to stress, yeah, then there would be no reason for it. It is a built-in tool that your body uses. Yeah? It's only when you stay in stress for long periods of time, when you stay in that fight or flight, fawn or freeze for long periods of time, that the cortisol builds up, and then you have to put so much more effort into releasing that cortisol from your body. But I'll say it again: sleep, nutrition, movement, mental rest, reducing stress, or at least taking breaks from stress. Yeah. If you can't reduce the amount of stress in your job, take regular breaks. Boundaries. Yeah, I talk a lot about boundaries. In order to reduce self-doubt specifically, you need to ensure that your boundaries protect your time and your energy. Yeah. And these are the sort of boundaries that are consequences of what you will do if someone oversteps your boundaries. Boundaries should never be about controlling someone else, because the only person in this world that you can truly control is yourself. Yeah? And finally, again, I'm going to come back to practicing self-compassion and self-acceptance. Yeah. Learn that you can never be perfect. You are worthy of trust, love, and acceptance. Try to listen less to your self-doubt and inner critic and more to people who care about you. Yeah. I can literally guarantee, I'll put money on it, that you, dear listener, you, whoever it is who you are, who are watching this video, yeah, I bet that there are times when the way that you talk to yourself would horrify you if someone else spoke to you that way. Or the way that you talk to yourself would never, ever, ever be a way that you would talk to someone else, whether it's a friend or a child or your next door neighbor. Yeah. So practice self-compassion, self-acceptance, and know that you are worthy of the respect that you give others. Yeah. It's a two-way street. I'm going to close with a reminder that we are all human. Yeah. My personal biggest struggle right now is procrastination. So rather than beating myself up over it, I seek accountability from friends and colleagues and even my clients. Yeah. I pull these wonderful people together and we have co-working sessions where we all join in on a Zoom call. We say nothing, especially not to each other. Yeah. We're all muted, but we keep our cameras on so that we have this kind of accountability. It keeps me focused, it keeps them focused, and I'm not quite sure how it works, but it's just as good as sitting in a room with people and deciding you're not going to talk, you're just going to get your head down. Yeah. And one thing that a lot of my clients come to me with is that not being able to put their finger on what they need. So if you need a little bit of help or a little bit of time to figure out if you need any external help, yeah, know this, right? You have the strength and the resilience and the potential, yeah? But avoiding burnout, just as an example, avoiding burnout means you have to change something. Yeah, you have to work smarter. So I'd love to hear from you about what you intend to do about your own self-doubt. Yeah. Because, and I say this with all the love in my heart, what you don't change, you are choosing for yourself. Yeah. I'll say it again. What you don't change, you are choosing for yourself. So if there's a lot of self-doubt in your world and you don't decide to do something about it, you are choosing to keep that self-doubt in your world. So if you've got any questions, we can, don't you start barking, young man. Right when I say, isn't it weird? I say, have anybody got any questions? He immediately bounces up and starts growling. But what I'm going to do now is, yes, question time. Have a look over here. Right, there's no questions come on the live streaming straight in the Facebook group. Got one person here live. Just get myself in the right place. Claire, do you have any questions?
No, I don't, but I want to thank you. I do want to thank you for your discussion. I thought it was very helpful.
A discussion of one.
Well, yeah, no, it's two because I'm here. So you can't really have a discussion of one,
No,
I don't
not
think.
really.
Well, you kind of can maybe. We talk to ourselves all the time, but
Absolutely. And
yeah.
It's strange. I've always had this little voice in the back of my head. I'm sure
Uh-huh,
it was one of my most early employers. I
uh-huh.
used to hear he had an office which was like glass, but it was
Hmm.
wooden panels with glass above. Very
Hmm.
old office, a sort of 1930s office. And I would
Hmm.
sometimes hear him chatting away and talking to him. And I'd walk past his office, I'd knock on the door and go, "Do you need any help with anything? Do you want a coffee? You all right?" And he goes, "Yes, I'm just talking to myself at the moment because I need some expert advice." And that always
Love it.
stuck with me.
I
Um,
love that.
so
That's
that yeah,
great.
when when you catch me talking to myself, it's because I need some expert advice. But it's been lovely having you here, Claire. Um,
Lovely to be here.
yeah, we've had some problems over the last couple of weeks, but I hope to get back into the swing of nice, regular, live at the same time. Our clocks are changing next week, so keep an eye on the Facebook group to see
Okay.
whether that affects the time wherever you are in the world. Um,
Okay.
and on that happy note, I'm going to say bye bye for now.
Bye bye. Bye bye. Thank you again.
You're welcome.